Oh boy, what a good day for the engineer. I was under the impressions, or should I say that I was speculating that they are going to do some sort of a buff to the power engineer, not condition damage engineer. So when this patch went live and I came back home from work and I look at the patch and I was just like, are they for real? They are actually going to buff the condition damage build of the engineer. So that was a little bit of a surprise, and they are not doing anything minors. They are doing significant changes to the condition damage build, and so I'll be going through some of the big changes that has the most impact onto the build itself. So let's just start off with the specializations. Specialization is the same with the one that I previously made a video about this one in December, so that's about 2 months ago. And one of the big changes that they have made is the health threshold. So previously it was 90%, and now you only need to maintain 75 to be able to have an increase in 5% damage, so that's nice. And the other change that they have made right next to this is the short fuse. Now this one, reading from the patch itself, it's saying that they just doing some sort of like description fix to make it more correctly displayed, but there is also another one that has an impact on the big old bomb as well, but I'll get onto the big old bomb in a second. So in regarding to the short fuse, it is correctly displayed. Is, I think, in my personal opinion, it is minor. So the next one that I like is the pinpoint distribution. Now this one will increase the condition damage on nearby allies. So previously it was to provide you with an extra condition damage based on your positions. Now they changed it to providing condition damage to nearby allies, and so technically if you are in a meta events and you are in a group, so if you're in a party, in a group, you do like fractal, you do meta B events, or you do even high-end content like the raid, this will provide you with an additional benefit to your team by having the condition damage increased by 150 points. Now this would benefit the team that has condition damage classes inside that team. So if the team is full of physical damage, so let's say that you're doing a dungeon, right, and you have 4 other classes and they are full physical berserker damage, then this one would not benefit that much. However, if you are in the team that has like Condi Ranger, Condi Necro, Condi PS, and another Condi engineer that doesn't have this, then that will provide the entire team an increase in overall damage by having 150 points in condition damage. Now if you have another NG that has the pinpoint distribution, then I think that you can go with either, well actually not either, you can go with this one. So critical hits on foes within the range threshold have a chance to gain fury, but only if you are the second engineer that does you already have another engineer that already have the pinpoint distribution. So in that case, then you can swap to no scope. Otherwise, just use the pinpoint distribution. I'll be using this on the meta events anyway, because most of the time I prefer to provide condition damage to nearby allies. But then if I see it's already active from other engineers, then I will be using that one instead, because this one you attack faster with your rifle or the harpoon gun, which this build I am using 2 pistols, so that would not benefit me that much. Anyway, so that's pretty much it for the specialization. Now let's move on to the weapon skill. They have made a change to your auto attack skill 1, which increase your blinking duration from 3 seconds to 4 seconds. So having an extra 1 second will benefit you, so that's good. Now the one that I like the most in regard to the weapon skill is the blow torch. This one, from the description of the patch, it is the number of burning applications that the skill supplies have been increased from 1, 2, and 3 stacks to 2, 3, and 4 stacks, corresponding to the distance of between you and the target. So at the maximum amount, 4 stacks at 200 points distance, you will be dealing 18,032 points in regard to the damage. Now, however, this, it's just what it's saying in the skill descriptions. In practice, obviously the mobs will have some toughness and defense, and so you're not gonna achieve that number, but it's a good indication compared to the previous previous figures, that you have the maximum amount of 3 stacks, which is obviously is 13,524, and now you have an extra stack at the maximum distance, so that's 18,000. So that's really nice. And I have been saying this for all of my condition damage build videos, so for those of you who've been following me, that I have been mentioning the burning condition damage. Burn condition damage is one of the strongest condition damage tabs that you can have in the game. So having this, an increase in an extra stack, will subsequently increase in your overall damage. So just, the logic behind that. So I like this. It's a little bit of a surprise. I wasn't expecting them to increase the burning condition damage from the skill 4 of the dual pistols. So that is the first surprise. Now the second surprise was from the flamethrower. They have made some significant upgrades for this one. So first of all, the first upgrade that they made is that the flame jet. So your first auto attack skill, the duration of burning inflicted on the final hit of this skill. Remember, this is the final hit, not the first one. So the attack of this one will, spread the fire. So at the last hit, it will increase the condition durations. So this one, starting from, increase from 2 seconds to 4 seconds. So having an increase in 2 seconds, that's not a whole lot, but you need to keep that in mind, that it is a burning condition damage. And as I said earlier, that the burn condition damage tab is one of the strongest condition damage tab you can have in the game. And to further add to the skill, this is your auto attack skill. So it has a fast cooldown, see, and it can repeatedly repeat in regard to tapping the skill, So that is a huge improvement, and it's still, obviously it deals like 10% bonus to burning target, but that was, before the patch, so it has been going on for a few months now. Now they decided to make the duration of the burning inflicted increased by 2 seconds, so that's huge. And in particular, because you have the burning condition damage to be one of your strongest condition damage tabs that the engineer can have, so this one is really nice. The next upgrade for this utility is in regard to the flame blast. Reduced the base damage of the skills by 66%. This skill now inflicts burning for 3 seconds. Second upgrade, that was the first upgrade for the second skill. Now the second upgrade for this skill, for the second skill, is detonate flame blast. Reduce the base damage of the skill by 57%. This skill now inflicts 2 stacks of burning for 3 seconds. So immediately you will see that you have 3 stacks burning for 3 seconds. Sure, the base damage of the skill reduced by 66%, but they make it up by having extra burning condition damage. And so this utility skill is now allowing you to have 1 stack, right? 3 stacks or 4 stacks, and then you have another 2 stack coming from this. And not to mention the napalm, this one will burn foes with a wall of napalm at the target location. So the longer the target enemies stay in that wall, it will deal damage over time. So you can see that you will have a lot of burning condition damage stacking on your target. And so, well, the last one is, survival skill, so it's smoke and then next going out attack misses. So you have 4 skills on your weapon slot of your utility. Combine that with the blowtorch, and not to mention that you have the bomb kit as well, which is burning as well. And the I don't think that the grenade you have any burns. So yeah, I'm right. So there's no burning in the grenade, but on the bomb kit you have you had 5 bomb as well. So as you can see that you have a lot of burning condition damage that you can stack on the target, and so that is a significant improvement for the class, and subsequently it would deal a lot of damage to the target. So initially I was I was doing my rotation with the bomb and then the grenade, and then after that for the flamethrower I usually just throw the napalm, and sometimes when I need to do the CC, because this one is considered to be your CC as well because it have knockback and also burning condition damage. So I usually use these two the most, but now because they have a significant upgrade to the utility skill, weapon kit, flamethrower, I will now be prioritizing my rotation tailored to the flamethrower. So I'll be using that because obviously they make a significant upgrade, right? So more damage that I can achieve from the flamethrower, so I'll be using that more. And all the upgrades, all the changes that they have made is the first one from, sorry, not the first one, but you get what I mean. So all the upgrades starting for the bomb kit, you have the glue bomb. Now this one, immobilize increase from 1 second to 2 seconds. So that's good for the CC. Not a huge change, but still better than nothing, right? Increasing immobilize, so if you need to immobilize your foes, that can be done 2 seconds. And the other one, which is the big O bomb. Now big O bomb, they have a change for the skill. The skill is now affected by the short fuse. So if you recall the short fuse starting from the specialization in the explosives, this one bombs explode faster and have a faster cooldown. So you'll be seeing that your cooldown for the big O bomb will be faster, and so you will be having this one up faster compared to the previous patch, and so you'll be using that more frequently in your part of your rotation as well. And so that's pretty much it. I mean, aside from the fact that I was a little bit surprised about this, but I'm glad that they make some changes, because like obviously more damage that you can do inflicting on the target, the better, right? And so everybody loves having more damage. And I will be prioritizing my flamethrower, and I would encourage you to do the same too. So for the next sections, I will be talking about the equipment. So for the equipment, I am still using my Vipers, full Vipers, everything ascended for me. And the rune, I am using the superior rune of Berserker, so that hasn't changed compared to my previous video. 2 pistols, still the same, full Vipers, and I'm using the superior Sigil of Malice for my first pistol. The second pistol, I'm using the Sigil of Geomancy. And because I have a lot of weapon kits with me, I'll be swapping that with my 2 pistols, and whenever I do that, I will inflict the bleeding conditions on nearby foes for 10 seconds, so that's really good. And because I'll be swapping a lot, so keeping up the bleeding is always good because it's one of your condition damage stab that you can inflict on the target. So moving on to my trinket. For my trinket, I am using full Vipers for my pack piece. To accessory, I'm using full Vipers, and for the first ring, I'm using Vipers. For the second ring, I'm using Sinisters, and for the amulet, I'm using Sinister. The reason for that is because I already have enough the buff for my durations increase for my 2 pistol skill, weapon skill, increased by 50%. And if you look at my duration right here, I have 76.73. Now if I use food, I can pump it up to 99 to 100% condition durations, and any extra durations that you have after the 100% cap, it won't be count. So ideally you want to maintain it at 99 to 100%, because 99% of your condition duration is considered to be 100%. So if you can reach 99, that's good. Otherwise, the maximum that you can go for is 100%. So please keep that in mind. And so because of that, I swapped my 2 of my pieces for my trinket to be the Sinisters, so that I don't, overcapping my condition durations. So if I use food, I will be, achieving my maximum amount of condition duration that I have for my NG. If you don't want to use food, I think that, that's fine. But most of the food that I use are quite cheap anyway. So for example, sometimes I consider to use the super veggie pizza. So that is not, not breaking out my bank. It's fairly decent and fairly cheap. And the other one I can consider to have in my inventory as well is the crystal. So both of them will provide you with additional condition damage durations and condition damage. And so yeah, if I use food and if I use expensive food, then obviously I'll maximize my condition durations. But from time to time, I'm just using the budget food, because obviously for meta events, I don't think that, is it like if you are just roaming across the map doing meta events and huts, I don't think it is necessary for you to be using expensive food. So if you decided to go with the normal food, budget food, that's fine. Otherwise, if you don't want to use it, that's fine also in the meta events. Alright, so that's it for the equipment. Now I'll be moving on to the budgets, and I'll finishing off with this video. Alright, so for the budget options, I always recommend people to go with either Rampagers or the Rabid options for your engineer. And you can get it from the temple, so that will cost you some karma. So but it's easy to obtain. I think that a lot of people will have quite a number of karmas available on them anyway, so use that. Alright, so for the rune, because they have made big changes to the utility skill, in particular the flamethrower, I am now considering the superior rune of balthazar for your budget options in regard to the rune. Obviously, you can go with the superior rune of the crate or the rata sum for all the condition damage type like the bleeding and poison. But because they have made changes to the burning condition damage for the utility skill flamethrower, and also for the weapon skill, the blowtorch, I think that will be a good idea for you to go with the balthazar rune instead of the other two. But it's entirely up to you. Now for the weapons, I recommend you to go with the dual pistols. Rampagers or the Rabid set is entirely up to you for the budget options. For the Sigil, now the Sigil, you have a variety of options, but the first Sigil you can pick from any of these: Smoldering, Agony, Earth, and so on. Smoldering will increase your burning condition durations, Agony will increase your bleeding condition durations, and Earth is that will provide you with a 60% chance on critical hit that you will inflict the bleeding. Now I am in favor of Smoldering because it's increase your burning condition durations, and given that this patch is upgrade, improve your flamethrower and also burn condition damage stack on your blowtorch, I think that will be a good idea for you to go with Smoldering. Now the second Sigil is a must for you to go with the Geomancy. Geomancy is rather cheap, so it's not really a big expense for your Sigil. So Geomancy, every time when you swap the weapon, you will inflict the 10 seconds of your bleeding on the nearby foe, so that's good. And because of that, I always recommend you to go for it, because you'll be swapping a lot between your utility skill and your weapon, so that's a must. Alright, so that's it for me. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down in the comment section below, and I will try to finalize all my other videos for other classes, because this patch is a good patch for some of the classes for the engineer. So it's a good patch for some of the classes, condition damage classes in the game. So I will probably get them out either at the end of this week or next week. So stay tuned. As always, have fun, enjoy. I'll see you later.